In this demo, we're going to use DataStation to combine two CSVs from GitHub by making an HTTP request for both of them, and then using SQL to join them inside of DataStation, and ultimately we'll produce a nice visualization of some results. So this is the default project for DataStation, and I'm just going to clear it up. And let's give it a nice name. Okay, so the two data sets that I have, let me grab the raw version of them. The first data set that I have is all of the states in the United States plus territories with postal code information. And the other data set that I have is the largest cities by population in the US, having at least 1,000 people. Okay, so let's import these into DataStation. We create a new panel, make it an HTTP request, set the URL, hit Control Enter or the play button to run the panel, and here we can see we got back the results we expected for the first CSV. Okay, let's add the next one. Another HTTP request. And Control Enter to import it again. Okay. Let's give these nice names so that we can easily remember what we put in them. This one is just states. And this panel is cities and states. Now, once data is in DataStation, we can choose to import it into another panel using Python or JavaScript. But in this case, the program I have in mind is going to be easier to do in SQL. And what I'd like to get out of this is a rank of the top states by the number of cities with the largest population. And just to demonstrate the joining, I'd like to have this information by postal code. So a very simple query in here, grabbing data from another panel, would look like this. So count from DM panel 1. So this is going to tell us the number of cities in the US, because this one is cities and states. So the number of cities in the US with more than 1,000 people. We hit Control Enter to run it. And there we go. There are 1,001 rows ultimately in this CSV. All right, so now that we get the picture, the only other trick to know is that you use this DM get panel to get it the first time when you're referencing a panel in a from or a join, but after that we can just refer to it by T0 or T1. So let's change this to be select T1.state. Again, the goal of this was to count the number of cities. So then let's just clarify the panel name. States ranked by number of cities, big cities, and with postal information. All right, so state count, because we're going to group it as count, and let's get the postal information. Postal. And let's say DM panel join on state group by T1 state order by count descending. Okay. And that looks pretty good. So we can see that California is the state with the most number of cities, having over 1,000 people. And we can see that we successfully joined in the postal information from the other CSV. Okay, so just recapping here what we did. We had two data sets, one that showed cities in the US, and another that showed states with postal information. And once we imported them into DataStation, we were able to use an in-memory SQL to fetch both panels and then do a SQL join on them, group by, order, and ultimately we were able to produce this nice result. So that's great, but it's kind of annoying to see it in the preview, and we have better tools than that. So finally, let's choose to visualize this by adding a new panel, graph panel. And for the panel that we want to graph, we want the second 0th indexed panel. The field we will, for the x-axis, will be postal, and the y will be count. And what this means is number of cities. Okay, now again, hit Control Enter, and there we go. All right, we've done exactly what we wanted to do. Now the final thing is that if we want to send this to anyone, go up here, hit Share, and right here we've got a URL that we can send to anyone, and they will get this entire project state and be able to continue on from where we left off. All right, thank you for watching this demo.